day 10 of Vlogmas, and I'm about to embark on what we call in our family elfing. Gonna go do some Christmas related errands, so I'll take you with me as much as I can. Time of the day when I'm finally about to make my scones to go with all this yummy jam I've been getting every day. All right, my bowl is zeroed out. This is a British recipe, so I love the fact that you just weigh your flour. It is by far the easiest way to do something like this. So I need 350 grams of self-rising flour, which I know it's like almost 3 cups. I'm gonna stir this a little to loosen it. I'm up to 145 grams. 202. Still got a ways to go here. 295. 346. All right, we're close. Oh, way over. 350 on the nose. Beautiful. All right. So, and then 1/4 teaspoon of kosher salt. Got my little salt chick here. I'm using salted butter, so this doesn't take much extra salt. A teaspoon of baking powder. That. There we go. All right, and I'm gonna stir all of that up. I forgot to grab. All right, so I've got my fork. The next thing to do is cut in some butter. Usually use really cold butter, but I know when I do that, it takes a lot longer. So this is butter that's been sitting on the counter. It's not quite, it's not warm, but it's not cold either. So that was about 5 tablespoons. This is going in the sink. And I've got another like tablespoon and a bit here that is quite cold. That is also going in. All right, and I usually just start doing this with a fork. Actually, since it is not super cold butter, it'll blend in fine just with a fork. The other thing I use sometimes when it is really cold is this pastry cutter, but I don't want to take that much time today. The fork is actually a little faster. So once we get the butter completely broken up into the flour, they say, you know, have like pea-sized pieces. It really, you don't want to see any lumps of butter at all. We're going to come back and throw in the sugar. And after I do that, I'll be back with you. So our butter is blended in. I just threw in the sugar. I'm going to mix that in. So you can see there's no really big pieces of butter left. You see bits here and there, but I've broken it all down fairly small and really incorporated into the flour. All right, so again, since it's a British recipe, it tells us metrically how much milk to put in, and it's 175 milliliters, which is, it's something around 2/3 of a cup. I measured this earlier. The next step actually is to heat the milk. So I'm gonna microwave it for, I think with this microwave, it's been about 45 seconds. And then I'm actually gonna stir in a little bit of lemon juice to sour the milk. It also helps with the leavening, words, that can be hard. And then I'm gonna throw a little vanilla into it. So I will come back after I've done that. So dries are together, liquids are together, the milk was heated. The other interesting thing about this recipe is it tells you when you heat the milk, put your cookie sheet in the oven. So I did do that. And that is one reason that scones rise so quickly, is because not only is the oven hot, but the sheet that these are going on is hot. So this is quite a liquidy batter in the beginning, and there are no eggs, you'll see, which to me makes it really easy to just, you have the ingredients all the time to throw it together. So I'm just gonna mix this gently until all the flour is just incorporated. I want to make sure all of this flour is in it. Like I said, it can be kind of a sticky batter. So it's pretty close to that point. Oops. Sometimes, literally, if you just let it sit for a minute, it sort of will attach itself to some of the other flour that's nearby. You really don't want to overwork the dough, which I feel like I'm getting close to doing. But, all right. Then we turn it out onto, I like to use a piece of parchment, keeps the counter clean. I'm gonna scrape all that remaining flour and dough into the pile. The other thing that's nice with parchment is that you don't actually need to use as much extra flour because nothing sticks to parchment. It keeps the dough nice and light. And you don't really need this. They basically say just turn it over on itself a couple of times. So we just want to make sure everything's incorporated and that there's not any big areas that are have got flour that's kind of not wet yet. All right. I do think I may need a little more flour, so I'm going to wash my hands to do that. Back with clean hands, I'm just going to add a little bit more flour from the bag. I left my spoon in there from earlier. Yeah, you don't want it to be super sticky, but yeah, this is actually really nice and light today. It's a nice dry day. Maybe that's helping. I don't know. So normally when I'm making regular size scones, I kind of round this up, form it into a circle that's about 1 inch thick, and then I cut it with a very sharp knife into not quarters, eighths, so it makes nice little wedges. But since I'm doing jam every day, I want to do mini scones every day. So I've got this cute little cutter, and I'll use that to make my squares. So one of the things that the recipe says is, or I don't know, maybe I know from something else, is you don't really want to press on the dough, that makes it not rise as much. Obviously with a cutter, you've got to press on the dough. Whoops. Oh well, that hasn't happened before. Got 2 really little mini scones. I will find another spot. But letting them fall out of this seems to help them kind of rise again. So that is basically how I make my scones. I am going to take when I finish cutting them, I'm going to take the hot cookie sheet out. I'm going to transfer them to the hot cookie sheet, do a little bit of half and half. You can do egg wash. I find half and half works just the same. It's got a little fat in it. That's really what browns. And we'll probably have about 20 of these little mini scones very soon. Hey, it's Kathleen, ready to open my Advents for today, December 10th, and show you some of my knitting progress. Best wishes for all. Today's jam flavor is apple caramel cinnamon spice, which sounds excellent to me. I think I'm going to make myself a little cup of tea before I go out to dinner with some friends this evening. Try one of those new scones too with my nice jam. So for my project updates, I'm working on 2 sweaters as well as socks. I just finished the first ball of yarn on the first sweater for my little niece. It's a love note in Tosh DK. Really happy with it. If I work on this tonight, I'll definitely finish up the ribbing at the bottom. But I'm really kind of feeling like I want to work on my other sweater. And I am going out tonight, so we'll have to see how much knitting time I really wind up having. My other sweater is the Novice Sweater by Petite Knit. This is my December sweater that Jen, Amanda, and I are each making ourselves a sweater in the Cotton Merino Glam. So I got my neck done. I worked it to 4 inches. I've done my first increases, and I'm about 1 inch into the yoke. I think I am going to put in short rows. So that will be next. And here's the Cotton Merino Glam. It's really fun. It's sparkly but subtle sparkle. And then there has been an update since I last showed you these, but I have not worked on them as much as I'd hoped. When one of the sweaters is done, probably when my niece's sweater is done, I will really get back to these. But these always seem to be a mess. I decided to do, instead of doing 2 at a time socks, I'm doing 2 at a time tandem socks. So I'm working on 2 separate Chowgu 32-inch size 0 red lace needles. I got the toe done for both socks, and I've got an orange stripe and a blue stripe for both socks. So I've always wanted to do a stripe a day Advent. Kind of felt FOMO the last couple of years seeing people do those, but already had this in my stash, thought it would be a fun color to do. And so that's what I'll be getting to when I'm done with my niece's sweater. And I did bring it with me today when I was out doing some of that shopping, but didn't have actually a whole lot of time. I don't think I actually even took it out of my bag once, but it's always good to have your knitting with you, right? The times that you don't have any knitting with you are when you wind up needing it. So, all right, so I'm gonna go grab one of those scones and some tea, and I'll probably see you at least one more time today. So even though it's Saturday night, my usual Thursday coffee group is going to be getting together to have a nice little holiday celebration. Take you. They're still prepared for outdoor dining, but I don't think there's much of that going on right now. It is about 40 degrees. Nice festive wreath and a Fitzgerald.
What's our theme? What is our theme? Oh, we're saying. Cheers! What are we saying?
Just say cheers. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
The Edge Moms.
It's supposed to be okay.
And then probably